It's an organization that was founded in 1982, the oldest anti-drunk driving organization in the state of Illinois. We do things such as the Drunk Buster program, and we give financial assistance to victims. We're the only organization in the nation that does that. We do advocacy, and we worked for days and days on the .08. We do fundraising, legislation, but I also do what we call victim impact panels. And victim impact panels are basically presented to defendants who are arrested for drunk driving for prevention. The main purpose of the impact panel is not punitive. It is not to tell them how more to punish them or to make them suffer more. What we're trying to do is get to the emotional side. We believe that everybody is made up of body, mind, emotion, and spirit, and we let the police officers and the license being removed in their insurance company, and they're hiring a defense attorney and going to court, do all the punitive measures. What we're trying to get to the emotional side of the defendants. We believe that all the defendants are not intrinsically evil. They're not robbers, rapers, murderers. They don't wake up in the morning and say, aha, I'm going to take my big weapon, the car, run it down the highway, aim it at someone, and enter their life and kill them. Drunk driving death, it is by far, with very few exceptions, the most violent death known to mankind. There isn't a more violent death. There might be something similar to it, but every victim tells me the last look they have at their loved one, if they're allowed to look at them, is body swollen, blood coming from every orifice of the body, bones protruding from the body, brain matter coming from their head. It's not a pretty death. When you are assaulted by something going 40, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, whether you're in the car or out of the car, it's violent. Drunk drivers don't wake up in the morning and say, aha, I'm going to kill someone today. But the very fact that they didn't do anything about their drunk driving puts them in a category where they are, once they commit the crime and kill someone, they are convicted felons. They have to live with the fact that they killed a human being. Now, some people are hard-hearted, and if you never confess your sins, and if you never say you did something wrong, you don't have to ever be sorry. Isn't that true? If you've never done something, how can you be sorry for it? So if they continue to deny that they did this, then there's nothing to be sorry for. But once they confess that because they put alcohol in their system, got behind the wheel, and killed someone, they have to live with that the rest of their lives. I present to 700 drunk drivers every month, but I also do impact panels to young people. And this is a mini one. I'm going to have one victim and one defendant here today. Now, my victim is right here. Her name is Jen. And she lost the young man in her life that she loved with all her heart and soul. I think maybe her love, even she realized, you don't realize until you lose someone how much, you love them, but when they're gone, the pain is so severe. Some people look just fine. They don't have broken bones. When someone dies, you bury them, and the lost work productivity, their future, your heart's broken. Some of my victims, like Bill Hornbeck that you're going to hear about, lives on for a forever symbol, being brain injured. I work with quadriplegics, paraplegics, brain injured. But what you'll hear today is people from the same incident, the same crime, the defendant who killed Jen's friend will speak after she speaks. John Kearney I never got to know, but I think I know a lot about him through Jen's words, and especially his mom, his dad, his brothers, sister-in-law, his friends. The court was filled when they would all come to court to represent John. But John will speak on through Jen, and Jen was weeping just a little while ago. This is very difficult for her, extremely hard and emotional, so bear with her, and she will tell you a little bit about John. Do you have a mic, Pincher?
Is this good? Okay. Like Ms. Larson said, my name is Jen Laporte, and basically I'm here to tell you how a drunk driver has affected my life. When I think back to when I was 14 or 15, I never figured that when I was 19 I'd be sitting up here talking to all of you about drinking and driving. But it is a huge problem. It's come into my life, and regardless, had it or had it not, it is a huge problem, basically with a very simple solution, real simple solution. And so for the most part, I'm here to let you know that we can stop it if we can all work together on it. My main reason for being here, like Ms. Larson said, is John Kearney. On August 5th of 1995, he was walking to a street dance in my town, which is over in Bartlett, and he was hit by a drunk driver. He died that night of injuries to his head, neck, chest, and legs. This is it's hard for me to come up here and speak because at the time of his death, all before that, about a year and a half before that, up until that exact night, I had a problem with drugs and alcohol myself. And even worse, about 4 days before he died, was a Tuesday night. We had a party for a friend of mine. It was her birthday. And I was sitting there with everybody. People were drinking or whatever. And, I was drinking too. I was drinking something. And John came up to me and he asked if I could possibly hold off until 10 o'clock so that I could give him a ride home. And I looked at him and I said, I just thought someone else was giving you a ride home. And he said, that's fine, and he walked away. Had I known that he was going to die 4 days later, I would have given him a ride home. I definitely would not have chosen to drink over spending time with him. Obviously I probably would have gone home with him and stayed there as long as I could to say what, needed to be said to him. And, I no longer have that option. I think about that night all the time. And sure, it wasn't a big deal to him, but it's very hard to carry that with me. The worst part of it is that he wrote a poem to me. He had written a poem to me that night, and I guess he was going to give it to me when I drove him home. But the thing is, I didn't drive him home, so he gave it to a friend of mine, and I'm going to read it for you. It says, another tear rolls down my cheek, your smile my strength when I am weak. The memories indeed will long survive, from school to impact to 1085. But I really need to know why you look the other way. You helped me to grow, but now you're far away. He loves you like the Father loves the Son. He died to set you free. We claim the victory Jesus won. How can I help you believe? And after that he wrote, Jen, I'm serious. I hurt, but I'm sure I don't hurt nearly as much as you. I'll do anything to help you with whatever you're going through. Just name it. I love you. And that was real hard for me to read after he had died because of the way that he died and just the way that things turned out. I spent a lot of time thinking that he died on account of, on my behalf, or for all of those people out there who are struggling with drugs and alcohol. And I always thought it was such a shame that someone who never had a problem with it had to be the one to set the example for the people that were doing it. And I'll tell you, it's not a smart move to drink or do drugs. Especially when you're in high school, because you say, or you can say that you're doing it to have fun, but in high school it is so hard to distinguish between having fun or just wanting to fit in, or having fun or just being insecure, or having fun as opposed to wanting to get away from problems. I know that I came from a bad home, a lot of problems, and looking back on drinking and drugs and that whole period of my life, I know now that I was doing that for all the wrong reasons. There are no right reasons, but it's really bad. And the thing of it is, you think that, like you had mentioned earlier, somebody you look up to, someone who you appreciate and like a lot, asks you to do drugs. I can tell you right now, that person will never be a real friend to you. And in your life, you definitely want to find people that sincerely care about you, that want what's best for you. And if they're asking you to do that kind of stuff, it's a pretty shallow relationship. It won't go very far. You can't trust somebody like that, and you really can't depend on their feelings for you for anything. So it's not a smart move. I guess that's why I felt so strongly about John, was that he never drank, he never did any drugs, and so it was 100% John all the time. When I was growing up, I never really had anybody who would listen to me, who wanted to listen to me. I'd get a good grade and no one seemed to care. And when I met him, he was so interested in everything that I had to say. I would tell him about a grade and he would just ask me to tell him more and more. He just wanted to hear me talk. He was the kind of guy that could look into my eyes and see right through me. He knew everything about me, and he liked me in spite of it all, which is more than I can say for anyone, even including my family. So he was very important to me. I had never done anything right. And when I met him, he didn't have any friends, and in high school I happened to know a lot of people, I had a lot of friends. And so I introduced him to everybody that I knew. He was a lot of fun to be with, he was a great guy. And for me to watch him interact with these people, in the time to come, it was very self-rewarding. It made me happy to see this kid who had originally had no friends, just be loved by all these people. I didn't make them like him, once he got a chance with these people, they just fell in love with him right away. But for me to watch him start to be happy again made me feel important, and I had never felt that before. And at the same time, I just love to see him happy. And it's had a real big effect on my life because I can't quite seem to move past it yet. It's been over a year, and I still wake up at night crying. Sometimes when I dream about John, just being able to see him again, a physical aspect, I almost don't even want to wake up because, I know he's not going to be there when I wake up. And sometimes I call his house thinking he's going to answer, and it doesn't click until his mom answers or something like that. And it's just been real hard. He had this ability to bring out the good in me, which I had a real hard time finding otherwise. And since he's been gone, I can't help but doubt myself all the time. And I can't seem to give 100% in anything that I do. My relationships with other people are falling short because I had so much invested in him that it's just been real hard for me to come out of this. And I'm still trying. And, when I partied, I never did drive drunk. I never got in a car with someone who was drunk, but, whether you kill somebody or whether you get caught, whether you get pulled over, even if you get away with it, it is wrong. I know that I could be sitting at the cemetery talking to John and crying, or I can be sitting awake in my house at 2 in the morning waiting for my sister to come home crying because I know she's drunk. And it's no different. It's bad either way. She's made it home this far, but it's hard. It's real hard regardless. Because the more you get away with it, the more you do it, and the more at risk you are. If you do it once, you're at risk. And so I don't know. I'm glad to be here because from what I hear, you guys are some real great people, and definitely, if you understand that drinking and driving is a real problem, and if you can make a commitment to not do it, then you can most definitely convince other people not to do it. I'm up here hoping to make a difference, and honestly, for any of you in this room to not drink and drive, you'd be doing the same. You'd be making a huge difference. One person is a lot bigger than it sounds, and if you can convey this to other people, that's great. It's important that you do because I know that the way that I feel, I probably would not wish on my worst enemy. And if we can prevent other people from feeling this way, that is spectacular. And I think we can. It's getting better all the time. And I do hope and pray that one day it'll all be over. I guess real quick, if you do ever come across, see, my reason for quitting drinking and partying, it wasn't 100% because John died. It was a lot of things. Most important, I had read in the Bible because every now and then I'll dive into there and read it. I read that if you're doing something that's hurting someone else, then you're no longer acting out of love. Now, when I drank and partied, my parents didn't know, but had they known, I would have been hurting them. And in spite of them not knowing, I was hurting them because I was putting myself at risk in a lot of areas. And, perfect example is the night that I chose to drink over spending some time with someone who cared a lot about me. And, I'll carry that with me for a long time. But, I wish you all luck, and I definitely think that you can convey this message. I think you guys are probably very strong people, and it's not that hard to do the convincing. Before I speak, I have struggle and struggle trying to think of what I'm going to say, but see, being up here on the side of, don't drink and drive, I'm not the one that has to do convincing. If there's someone out there that can convince me that it's okay, I'd like to challenge them, but until then, I'm on the right side, so just don't drink and drive, and good luck to you.
This was right before John was killed. He was chosen by the Rotary as a foreign exchange. He was going to another country, Bolivia. He was a starter on the basketball team. He was an outstanding student. His mom and dad grieve every day. His brothers, everyone misses John. John was precious. Now you're going to hear from the man who actually took John's life. It's not easy for him. He's ready to go to jail, but he's going to check in, I think, next week. But it's difficult for him. This is the first time he's ever done any speaking. Jen had a real hard time. It was a year and a half in court Jen didn't understand. Jen, since she wasn't family, couldn't read a victim impact statement. Only family is allowed to. So I give her the opportunity to speak, to tell her feelings, because she's grieving, and speaking helps you grieve. And I think Kevin, I find to be an extremely remorseful defendant. I only use defendants who are abstinent from alcohol, who take 100% blame, and who want to make a difference. And interviewing Kevin, he seems to fall. I've tried to know what his speech is. I haven't heard it yet, but this is his first time, and I want to introduce to you the man who killed John, Kevin Cook.
Good morning. I would like to thank Pat for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this morning. As you know, I'm here to discuss a serious issue with you, drinking and driving. It's a serious crime as well as a tragic mistake. A mistake I am sorry to say I know all too well. I am speaking to you as one of your peers. You see, when I was in high school, I was no different than yourselves. Please allow me a moment to share with you some of my high school memories. I was a straight A student, receiving only 4 Bs throughout my course studies. I lettered in football and swimming. As a matter of fact, I still hold the diving record at my high school. My senior year, I competed in the state diving championships. I was selected one of 2 students in the school district to participate in a program called Presidential Classroom, a program in which a high school student spends 2 weeks in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, to learn the inner workings of our government firsthand. The last semester of my senior year, I participated in a program called Illinois Governmental Internship, in which I interned with an Illinois governmental agency for 6 months. Yes, I would say I was a fortunate student, as you all are. I knew the importance of good grades to prepare myself for college, as I am sure you know, and I'm sure you are all planning on going to college. In college, I remained focused and continued to strive for good grades, graduating with a 3.9 out of 4, second in my class. It was in my 3rd year of college that I decided my career dream was to be a banker. A dream I am proud to say that I achieved after all my years of hard work and studying. A dream that led me to become a vice president of commercial lending at a Northwest suburban bank, managing 5 other bankers. And then sadly, a dream I would singularly shatter in one night when I got behind the wheel of a car after I had been drinking with friends at a golf outing. A dream shattered after 20 years of hard work and straight A's. a dream I will never have again, because after drinking alcohol at a golf outing, I headed home to tutor a friend in her college studies, and on my way home, I was involved in a tragic accident in which I killed 17-year-old boy, John Kearney. That was August 5th, 1995. Talking about shattered dreams, as Pat and Jen have said, John Kearney was a bright, promising student as yourselves. He played basketball, wrote poetry. He was selected to participate as a foreign exchange student to Bolivia and was set to leave on August 18th. His dreams at his bright young age was to help others, to make a difference, to help change the world for the better. His parents' dreams, after their 17 years of caring and nurturing their child, was to watch their son grow up, to watch him graduate, go to college, and to fulfill his dreams. All these wonderful dreams I shattered because I got behind the wheel of a car after I drank a couple beers. My parents' dreams, to share in my successes, to watch me live a full, rewarding life, I have also shattered. Me, a couple of beers, and an automobile, and all those long sought-after dreams shattered in a matter of seconds. I cannot express the feelings I felt that tragic evening and every day since for John, his family and friends, for my family and friends, as well as myself. Immediately after the accident, I stood there frantic, feeling helpless against what I had done, and watched as John lied there bleeding and growing whiter as his dreams left him. The pain and sorrow of this accident is something I will forever bear. The police asked if I had been drinking. I informed them that I had a couple beers. That was enough. I was taken to the police station and subsequently charged with a felony reckless homicide. As I stood in jail Saturday through Monday, I wept with the sorrow of what I had done to John and his family. I wept for the hurt I had caused my own family, and I wept for myself as I feared having to face up to this terrible, senseless crime I had committed. I struggle every day with the pain and suffering that I have caused everyone. Some days I feel I cannot go on. The pain is too much to endure. The knowing you have killed someone is a feeling I hope none of you have to experience. I had to seek medical help to help me deal with this tragedy. Every court appearance, I would have to look into the faces of the family and see the pain and sorrow that I had caused them. They were not there because they wanted to be. They were there because of what I had done. My mother went with me to every court appearance. As I would look into my mother's face, I could see the pain and hurt I had caused her. My mother had said to me before, the saddest day of a parent's life is the day a parent must bury their child. These words shall forever be in my mind, as well as the suffering that has occurred. At Christmas time, as I sat amongst my family and we talked and laughed about older memories, I wept with the thoughts of how painful and sad the Kearney Christmas will be, and how what would otherwise be joyful memories would now bring tearful and painful thoughts. I think of them and pray for them every day to give them strength. I felt this growing pain had to end. I pleaded guilty to the felony charge of reckless homicide. I could only hope that somehow, some way, we may find the strength to begin the healing process. If it wasn't for the compassion of the Kearney family, the family whom I had caused all of this suffering, I would have gone to a state prison for over 5 years. The Kearney family's God-like request for leniency is the only thing that saved me. As I stand here today, I, a straight-A student in high school, I, a Dean List recipient in college. I, a volunteer tutor in the Cabrini Green tutoring program. I, a vice president of a bank, will be serving time in the county jail. Though I fear the thoughts of being in jail with every part of my being, I can only think it will be paradise compared to the hell that I have put the Kearney family through. Then after I serve my jail time, I will have to overcome the impossible challenge of finding viable employment with a felony conviction on my record. You see, no amount of academic achievements, athletic accomplishments, or other work experience can make up for a felony conviction. I will always fear for my future. However, once again, my fear for my future cannot compare to the challenges that lie ahead of the Kearney family. Tragedies such as this are nothing like you see on TV. The tears are real, the pain is real, the hurt is real, and the loss is definitely real. It doesn't go away. There are no commercials. You can't change the station. It doesn't turn off. You are all working so hard to make lives of yourselves. You all have long sought after dreams. Please don't rob yourself of your dreams and all the hard work you have done and will do by doing something as senseless as driving drunk. Drinking and driving has shattered enough dreams and destroyed enough lives. Don't let it shatter yours. When you are confronted with the question, you will know that the only answer is simply never drink and drive. Never, not at all, not even after one. I see too many people who attempt to drink responsibly and still drive within the limits of the law. As I said that, the problem becomes apparent. The true answer, the only answer is never drink and drive. Today, I have a new dream. Today, I dream that each and every one of you will reach your dreams, and along that journey, remember the message we have shared with you this morning, and never drink and drive. And I dream you will encourage others, your family and friends, co-workers, not to drive drunk, and impress upon them the consequences, the pain and suffering it will cause, as you have heard here this morning. I know I will not be able to change everything, but I dream that one day, somehow, I could prevent other tragedies like this one from ever happening and save two families from such senseless suffering. Help me make my dream come true. Thank you.
This is basically what a victim impact panel consists of. I usually have two victims and one defendant speaker. As I said, it's an emotional experience. If you want to talk to Jen afterwards, after we take a break, I think she needs a lot of support. Drunk driving, there's nothing good that comes out of drinking that I know of for young people, nothing. And I thank you for your attention, and I think it's time for a break.